Have you ever just stopped and wondered, what is consciousness, really? Well, today we're diving into a pretty radical new theory that kind of flips the script on everything we thought we knew about the self, our emotions, and yeah, even our place in the universe.
So, our journey today, it all begins with a huge shift in perspective. Instead of thinking our brain creates our identity out of nothing, this theory suggests our identity is actually carved out of something way, way bigger.
And it all boils down to this one simple but incredibly profound question. Let's just forget all the jargon for a second, the science, the spirituality, all of it. Just think about the raw fact of your own awareness. Why does it feel like you are in there, looking out at the world?
You see, the standard answer is that your brain, with all its amazing complex wiring, just sort of manufactures your sense of self. But this new theory, it proposes something completely different. It reframes the brain not as a creator, but as a receiver. The idea isn't that the brain makes consciousness, but that it tunes into it. Kind of like a radio, pulling a signal out of the air that's already all around us. And that signal, according to this theory, comes from what's called the field of conscious potential, or the FCP. I want you to picture a vast, endless ocean of pure awareness. No edges, no anchor points, just infinite anonymous potential. It's everything all at once, which means it's also nothing in particular. And this is the absolute key. For that infinite, anonymous ocean to become a specific, self-aware I, to become you, it needs walls. It needs limits. This is the heart of what's called the finitude theory of consciousness. The whole idea is that your identity, yourself, it doesn't come from endless possibility, but from being limited. Okay, so what are these limits? What are the tools that actually carve a unique self out of that huge infinite field? Well, the theory calls them boundaries. And it really boils down to three essential ones that make self-awareness possible: the physical, the temporal, and the relational. Think of them as the scaffolding that your entire identity is built on. First up, the physical boundary, your body. The idea is, your body doesn't create consciousness, but it acts as a vessel. It's the antenna that picks up the signal from that field of conscious potential and then contains it, giving it a location, a here, that's separate from out there. Next is the temporal boundary, our awareness of time moving in a line, and, the fact that it eventually ends, our mortality. That's what gives our life a story. It creates this narrative spine of I was, I am, and I will be. Knowing you have a finite amount of time makes you urgently, vibrantly aware that you are right now.
And the final boundary, this one's the most sophisticated, is relational. Your sense of self really solidifies when you realize that other people see you. It creates this powerful feedback loop. I see myself being seen, and it's in that reflection that a really complex, stable I is truly forged.
Okay, so if that's the blueprint, right, a self that's elegantly carved from infinity, then we have to ask a very real, very personal question. Why does it so often feel like we're fighting an inner war? I mean, this is where the big cosmic theory gets really personal. If we're designed for this kind of beautiful coherence, why are things like anxiety and disconnection and that constant internal conflict, why are they so common for so many of us? Well, this theory has a name for this problem: the fracture. It's described as a systemic corruption of our psyche's original innate design for processing emotion. It's not that we're fundamentally broken. It's more like our internal operating system has been infected with a virus. And this fracture, it's caused by what the theory calls the three great distortions. You've got shame, which attacks your very right to exist, guilt, which attacks your ability to act, and corrupted fear, which cuts you off from your own intuition. The key idea here is that these aren't true emotions. They're manufactured forces that sever us from our true sovereign self. Now, check this out. This slide really shows the difference between a pure emotional signal and its distorted form. Take fear. In its true sovereign state, it's about clear instinct, it's about discernment, it's useful information. But when it gets corrupted, it becomes that buzzing anxiety or even total paralysis. The original signal is clean data. The distortion is just noise that keeps you trapped. So if the problem is the fracture, then what in the world is the solution? Well, this brings us to the path home, this whole concept of sovereignty. Emotional sovereignty isn't about controlling your feelings or suppressing them. Not at all. It's about restoring your original design. It's about getting back to that innate capacity to feel the entire spectrum of human emotion without being destroyed by it, and to finally reclaim your own internal authority.
And this isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. There's actually a practical methodology here called the 7 sovereign steps. The whole process starts with something as simple as naming the emotion, just to get your thinking mind back online. And it moves all the way toward this radical ownership by identifying your own role in it, not to blame yourself, but to reclaim your power.
And this quote just, man, it says it all, doesn't it? This isn't about trying to become some new, better person. It's about remembering and returning to the coherent, capable self that was your original blueprint all along. Okay, so let's zoom back out one last time. Because this entire framework, from the cosmic origin of consciousness all the way down to a practical therapeutic model, well, it's also designed to function as something else. It's designed to be a modern myth. This whole system of thought is actually the engine for a story called the Axis Mythos. It reframes our human journey of healing and self-discovery not just as a psychological process, but as a part of a timeless, epic story of transformation and rebellion and ultimately remembering who we are. Which really leaves us with a final question, a question for you to think about. If this entire theory is right, if your life is a story that's being written, a single unique signal of consciousness carved from an infinite field, then what happens to that story when you stop being just a character reacting to the plot and you decide to become the author?